Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Pure Cringe. My name is Maria McQuaid, and I'm here with my lovely friend, Michelle Barchikowski. Hey, Michelle.
How's it going, Maria?
I am well, thank you. And we are here today to do the first book review of season two.
hmm
I cannot believe it. We are in season two of Pure Cringe. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, by our friend Erika Jayne.
Erika
Erika
Jayne. We
Jayne.
are doing Pretty
Yeah.
Mess by Erika Jayne. And,
hmm
I have to say, I was really looking forward to this, not because I think it's going to be literature, obviously,
Right.
but because I knew that what I was going to do is listen to it.
hmm
And so I know that Erica's voice in general just kind of gets me crazy.
Uh-huh.
So I was hoping that it was not going to make me nuts. Did you also listen to it or did you read the book?
I did a combo. So I kind of
Okay.
started off reading the book and then like I got a little busy and I was like, I like the book, but I got like 20 IKEA bags of laundry to fold, so let me listen to it as well. And it was difficult. It was difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. Her voice is tough for me,
Yeah.
full stop. And I think I'm not sure if you guys realize, I'm sure I've mentioned it before. I really like to up the
Speed it
speeds
up.
of all
Yep.
of the audiobooks. I can't listen to people talk in their regular voices. It's just too slow. So
hmm
normally I would be somewhere around 1.4, 1.45. But at that point, Erica had reached chipmunk level and
Yep.
I
Yeah.
could not listen. It was unlistenable. And as much as I love our listeners, as much as I love your family and mine, I honestly could not take another second of it at that speed. So I had
Yeah.
to drop her down to 1.3. That was the level at which she was
That was
doing.
the level. Yeah, she was still crazy at 1.3. I think I got to
Yeah,
like 1.2. Yeah.
yeah, it's a
So you
lot.
did
It's a
well.
lot.
You did well.
It's well, and it's funny. Usually, too, I'm looking at this like the length of a book,
hmm
and sometimes and when you up the speed, of course, the book gets shorter. Her book was already crazy short, so I was already thrilled. I mean,
Yeah.
I know neither one of us was wanting to listen to a 15-hour book by Erika
No.
Jayne.
No. No. But I thought it was a good read. It was a fun read.
She really, I mean, I it could have been so much worse. I don't know what I was expecting. I'm really glad that it was much more of a story of her life. I first I will say the opening music was so like low budget and bad. My first thought was she needs to get Michelle to find her some intro music because I think our intro music is better
Oh
than
yeah, it
her
was
intro
really
music.
terrible. And it was a little bit long, wasn't it?
I remember listening to it and being like, I literally wrote down she needs Michelle to fix that.
Like, is this gonna
Like,
end? Is this
like
song gonna end?
she needs Michelle to edit her audiobook.
Yeah.
Like this is so bad. But I will say, yeah, I thought it was fun. I mean, what I thought was really cool was, and I think especially because we've been talking about Erica in terms of her looking like, and we'll talk about it more, like a old Hollywood glam. I loved sort of learning about her young days as a dancer and wanting to be a Ziegfeld girl. And
hmm
um I thought it was funny how she calls her mother Renee because I call my mother by her first name as well. Like she's in my phone is that like
Yeah.
that's just how I address her. I thought that was kind of funny. Um One thing I thought was interesting was like as a theater and dance kid, I didn't realize she traveled all over the world so young.
Yeah, I didn't either. But now her mother was in the same business, right? Wasn't she like a theater dance gal herself?
Yeah. She seems a little it's a little like what is it, Gypsy Rose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think she kind of figured she had a kid and maybe the least she couldn't live out her dreams, but she could kind of live vicariously through her child.
Yep.
So also too, I mean, um, all the kids I ever knew who like did like, dance and theater things, right? They were the ones in the least amount of trouble.
Oh yeah, I mean like
So
growing up, yeah, it was like that for me. I think about it now and I'm like when I was growing up and I was doing like tap, jazz and ballet and taking like piano lessons and stuff, there was no
yeah,
time.
no, there was no
There was
time.
literally no time to get into trouble, no matter how much I had wanted to.
Yeah. And I tried so hard.
Me
I
too.
did.
Me
Yeah,
too.
I kind of came later, like when there was less to do in college, I think, but like pretty much
Yes.
high school, like every slot was filled. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's children who have, time. And so she was a really busy kid. And it's funny because
And
I
she
I
made
feel
some money. Sorry to cut you off, but she
yeah,
made some money that her parents, like, sorry, not her parents, but her mother and grandmother put back into
yeah.
like a bank account to pay for other things.
Yeah.
I thought was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like, you know, I love the idea that like she mentions a lot of this stuff, given what's going to happen later, that
Uh-huh.
she's mentioning a lot of this stuff. I will say there's parts here where like I'm as I take my notes, it's very stream of consciousness for me. So I'll just write stuff down. And so after I wrote, travels the world at a young age, I was like, oh, she's so boring. Like she's so boring. Like, and then I wrote, I don't like her. I don't like her life.
Oh, that's just so funny. Well, I'll tell you what struck me was throughout the book, she talked about how she could hit the dance moves and she could hit the notes and she was trained. And I never looked at her once and thought she was well trained. I looked at like her Erika Jayne videos and like there's like one where she's like walking up the steps and she's not doing these like accents on the steps. Do you know what I mean? She just walks up the steps, kind of throws her arms out and then turns around and sings something. Or
Yeah, I,
do you
I
know
have
what
to
I'm
be
saying?
honest.
Like there's no like flair to.
She didn't get her opportunity to be a Ziegfeld girl. I think the kind of music, I'm doing music in air quotes, right? I think the kind of music that she sings is not something that would allow her to be able to dance in a classical sort of like Broadway style and I also think that her image is so sexualized that all she really has to do is writhe around or put herself in a position where it's like a good angle. So
Yeah,
I don't think she's really dancing in her videos. I think she's more posing.
she is, but she's not like snapping to it in between the moves. And that's kind of like what really makes something dynamic or not dynamic.
Well, she doesn't move like a dancer to me. Like I wouldn't
Well,
have
that's the other
instantly
thing too.
recognized her as a
I
dancer.
I never would have recognized her as a dancer. Now, say like Lady Gaga. I saw her once in concert and I was actually
Yeah.
really blown away. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, she's actually a really good dancer. There's nothing special about it, but
Yeah.
she kind of she
Does the things.
she does the thing. She's got the feeling.
Yeah.
And she there's like a little bit of writhing around and sexualization and stuff that she does, but then she can always like snap into some moves. But it's like she's got the I just feel
Well, she's got talent, Michelle. I think
yeah.
that's what you mean to say is that Lady Gaga has talent. So Lady Gaga can actually sing. I think
Uh-huh.
that's part of it too, is that like Erica is not really a great singer. I think Erica would be a great chorus girl. Like I'm thinking of movie
Yes.
chorus line.
Yep.
She's not one of the people that gets a song.
No.
She's one of the people in the back that's like
Uh-huh.
in like a beige. She's wearing a beige leotard and beige tights
Yeah.
and beige like Broadway shoes.
Yeah.
She's just I don't think in the real world of like Broadway and dance, I don't think Erica would be a star other than the fact that she's coming in from Real Housewives. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she was not able to go to New York and do this stuff all on her own.
No, no. But
You know,
again, I never once thought that like she was trained in anything, any kind of like professional dance or sing. I never once thought that. I really just thought
no,
like she pulled Erika Jayne out of her ass and thought it would be a fun
no.
thing to do. So,
Well, I have to say, I love the idea that Erica was named after Erika Kane.
uh-huh. I love that.
I loved what I fucking loved. I mean, I grew up. Did you grow up watching All My Children
No, I didn't like
and One
soap
Life to Live and
operas.
all those things?
I couldn't
Oh
stand
my
them.
God. See, my Nana watched them every day. They were her shows.
Yeah.
And so
Although
she
One
watched
Life
them
to
all
Live
day.
was the best one.
Oh, with the Buchanans. Oh,
Or was
fuck
it Days
yes.
of Our Lives? I hated General
I
Hospital.
General Hospital got bad after Rick Springfield and John Stamos left. There were no more cute guys.
Then there was like the whole rape. She raped
Oh
him.
yeah,
She got raped
Laura,
and
Luke and
then married.
Laura
Yeah, Luke and
was
Laura.
very upsetting but was it Felicia and Frisco Jones?
Oh, Frisco Jones.
Jack Wagner. Yeah, like I loved all this stuff. So I love the idea that like her mother was so enthralled
Uh-huh.
with All My Children that
Uh-huh.
she was like, well, I could name her, this, but I'm going to name her Erica, so that I feel like Erica Kane, Erika
Yeah.
Jayne.
Yeah.
So we find out her dad wasn't a part of her life, which I wonder how much that plays into her later, her sort of attraction to men who are a little bit older. Um,
She refutes that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The mother sounds like she was kind of a miserable person. And, Erica sounds like she got anxiety really young
Yep.
and spent a
Yep.
lot of time worrying. You know, And but she sounds like she was pretty super independent. She sounds like she booked her own gigs, she talked to her own agent, went on jobs alone. And I thought to myself, are there no fucking laws in Georgia? You know,
Well,
her mother is
yeah,
so cringe. Her mother is so cringe.
she is
She's
cringy
so
and
gel.
jelly. Yeah, a little
Yeah.
jealous of her. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, things were a lot more independent when we were kids, but I got to say, I wasn't one of those kids who like was given independence. I mean, someone was always home when I got home from school or got home from somewhere. I was never
Yeah.
left alone. There was
Oh
my
no.
95-year-old grandfather or a sister or my
Oh,
mother
same.
or my dad, and there was none of this like I'm just going to go out and about. Maybe when I met you in high school, I was allowed to go out and about, but up
Well,
until
yeah.
then, like there was,
When we had our own cars and shit, we could go places. But
yeah.
before that, I couldn't decide like where I went and what I did. No.
No, yeah, the car
Um,
thing seemed to like give us some independence because then we could do a lot of other things, even if it wasn't
yeah.
cars, but
She
that brought a
seems
lot
like
of
she's
freedom.
directing her life in a way that we weren't.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like we were participants in our own lives.
we were.
We there was a roll call and Michelle and I showed up in plaid skirts.
Yeah.
But I think Erica, it seems like she's driving her life here, which was interesting, which maybe, accounts for some stuff, as we start to see her get older. I love the idea that she was a go-go dancer. I don't know why. I always think that's a cute job, like in a cage. What is wrong with
I don't
me?
necessarily think she was in a cage. I think she was on stage
Yeah.
dancing for a 30-minute set, right?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
like I like to me, like I always love the idea of like being like a real go-go dancer, like being
Yeah.
featured like up on like a platform
Yeah.
in a club.
I think that maybe that was like maybe a 70s thing.
Yes.
I think like you can go to a gay club and find
Do
that.
it.
Like some guy in a
Right.
lame bikini bottom.
Yes. I want to be that guy, but in an outfit, hanging from a cage.
Yeah.
I want to be in a scene from Queer as Folk immediately. Immediately. But yeah, like I love the idea of a go-go dancer, what it was in the 60s or the 70s when it wasn't like a stripper,
Uh-huh.
but she was basically.
Yeah. Yeah, she was. She said something really funny. She says she got fired from being a stripper basically because she just had such a rotten attitude because you go in and guys can be assholes
Yeah.
or they're not the you're not the fantasy that they want and
Of
certainly
course, yeah.
they're not your fantasy that you want and so she points out like how hard it is to get fired from a strip club. Like you have to piss off a lot of people.
Yeah, you have to be like the worst stripper in the history of the planet.
Yeah, which
You have
means
to be
like
just the worst. Yeah.
bad attitude. Like you could be like a bad dancer but look good and smile. But the second like you just start to get like fucking twatty, you know what I mean? I'm sure like customers start complaining. Who's this one who's mouthing off to me? Do you know what I mean? That sort of
Oh
thing. So
yeah.
that's
I
not
mean,
why
like
they're there. They want their buffet
I was
and
just
they
gonna
want some
say they want
tips.
their pussy and they want their buffet at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, where's my chicken? Where's my steak? No, I mean, I will say, like, I've been to a couple of strip clubs where the food was just, like stupid good.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
I just I don't get yeah, I don't get like I don't have the attitude either where I would be great as a stripper, even if I was like stunningly beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would like I don't have that like kind of hospitality
Mm-hmm.
attitude. Like I think the same type of person who is like a really good waitress or server in
Yeah.
general
Yeah.
is someone who would be a great who could be like warm in any situation. If you can put the mask up
Yeah.
when you're serving people who are probably horrible to you,
Yeah.
then you can 100% put the mask up when you're dancing. I'm just not, I don't have the mask.
Do you know who would have been a great stripper? My husband. Because
Oh, he's a
he could
charming
just on a
motherfucker. Yeah.
dime just be so fucking nice and
Yeah.
say the right things
Oh yeah.
and
I'd give him money to keep his clothes on, Michelle.
yeah he would
Sweetheart.
have made
He's a
fucking
doll.
bank if he were a dancer.
I'll put it this way. If this was like the 40s, he could be like one of those dancers. Remember the private dancer video with Tina Turner where
Yeah.
people go and they're like a do a dime? There had to be men who were there to dance with women. He could have done that. He would have
Oh
been great.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Brian's fabulous to talk to.
Like just say anything. Just and that's the thing. Like the shit that he
Oh
can
yeah.
just say. He can say anything. I'm like, so sometimes
That's why we love
do you
him.
mean that? He's like, does it matter? Well, okay, I'm believing you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, I choose to believe
I'm
everything he
believing you.
says. That's where I'm gonna go with that. I choose to believe that Brian loves me, and I don't care. Um,
But anyway,
I
back to Erika.
yeah,
So
I will say, she doesn't have her Brian, but she does have a couple of fucking crazy characters in here. Can I tell you, I love the name. I really want to get a horse, a racehorse, or a dog, and name it Lobotomy John. Can we do that?
Lobotomy John. When he was he the
The
driver?
driver.
Yeah, the
I love
driver.
the idea. Like, I love when people have names like that. Like, when I've heard Lobotomy John, I actually thought of like Explosive Joseph. I
Oh
thought,
yeah.
like, isn't it fun? Like all these great names that you
Yeah.
give people. But so I'd be honest, I don't love the structure of the book. I don't love the like cute little chapters and shit. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if I love it, but we do start to get some warmth as she grows older, when she has her son. Her voice changes.
It does change. And um we definitely see some vulnerable sides of her when she told us all that stuff about her dad,
Yeah.
who was a real fucking twat. Honest
Yeah.
to God. I mean, and but then like to go back a little bit, the dad's dad, her grandfather, like left like
El
Honduras or
Salvador?
Guatemala, El
El Salvador.
Salvador,
Yeah.
and took his kids that he had with the wife, but not their kids. See what I'm saying? So he had like two stepchildren from
Yeah.
her. He only took his biological kids.
Nice guy.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, what's the fucking choice? Like, you understand your wife is going to stay, but like, there aren't they all your children now? So, all my children. But yeah,
Yeah.
and then she meets him later. She meets him later, and he's like a real twat, and she sold the big fancy necklace he gave her. Good for you, Erika.
Yeah, I mean, I don't yeah, her story with her dad, it really does, I think, it gives us a lot of color into why she is like incredibly guarded
Guarded, but then
and
she just gets
and
real
detached. I think she's a little
chihuahua when
detached.
it suits her. You know, like she'll really go after you.
Oh yeah, I think she's when she is threatened, I think, and it doesn't take I think it only takes something subtle to threaten her, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm thinking about that dinner. Is it in Amsterdam with Erica and beast, you beast, Eileen, when
Oh, that
Eileen
was
mentioned something
Amsterdam. Yeah.
about her son, and
Oh,
like
and she
Erica
goes like
comes
ballistic. Never talk about my
unfucking
son.
glued. Well,
Yeah.
it gives me some color now. Like, I hear the warmth when she talks about him. Like, this kid is
Mm-hmm.
her life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is her heart. And I feel like the only times when we feel that warmth from her, even in the show, is when she's either talking about her son or Tom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when she
True.
talks about Tom, she loves the fact that he's like, makes eye contact, he's solicitous. These are all things that I think anybody finds attractive in someone,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
someone who's interested in the things that you say, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I almost love him, right? Like, when Tom first came on, I thought he was awesome. I don't know what you thought. I thought he was
Oh, I
awesome.
thought he was awesome. But I mean, what people don't think about though is there's like such a huge age gap that at some point you are going to be left in the lurch,
Yeah.
right? Caring for an old person, or as we know, I don't know, he's got dementia or Alzheimer's or something.
Yeah, I mean, and it's tough because we see this all play out on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, right? I mean,
Yes.
Yolanda
Yeah.
brings her on, and we see them in earlier stages when he's well and he's feisty, and you can see that he's super supportive of her, right? That's what we're seeing.
Very, very. I
We're
thought
seeing he's
I
super supportive.
and she gave him all that money blindly and just let him do whatever with it because he just supported her,
Right.
So
And they
yeah,
had it sounds like they had an incredible marriage. They had a lot of trust because
yeah,
they didn't have kids together. They spent a lot of time together.
yeah,
And it sounds like they did a lot of stuff. So when they were together, like, they were out and they were, and they were going to conventions and they were hosting people. And, she talks all about this in the book. It's basically her rise to the middle as Erika Girardi, right? Or
yeah,
Erika Jayne.
yeah.
Um, and during her marriage to Tom is when Erika Jayne is sort of born, right? It's the birth of Erika. She feels supported enough that,
Yeah.
and frankly, she's bored with redoing her house. She spends a couple of years after she marries Tom redoing the house,
Yeah.
gets bored, and then creates Erika Jayne. And Erika Jayne, she was about to retire right before she joined Real Housewives. She
Mm-hmm.
says,
Mm-hmm.
um, I have to be honest, as much as it was nice to get this sort of jump into her life, her voice and her story kind of grew on me.
Yes. Became
It
tolerable. Yeah.
Yeah, by the end,
Yep.
and I actually I liked it. The only thing I thought was really weird was ending the book with the last chapter about religion. Why?
She became very philosophical. She became very
Wow.
philosophical. And I'm trying to figure out
I have a
what was
headache
it,
thinking about it. Why?
what was it that tipped her off to get to that philosophical level. So what was the chapter before that?
That everything is she's leading up to is talking about, well, so the what is before that is what I thought was really, I was, this is a part where I thought she gave us a little glimpse of Bethany, a callback to Bethany, when she talks about her implosion on Dancing with the Stars.
Yes. So that really fucked with her head. And it's interesting because Lisa
Talk to me
Rinna
about
had
that. Did you
said,
watch that?
um, no, I think by that time I was already kind of off of Dancing with the Stars. We used to watch it like faithfully, like every the twice a week that it was on. We thought it was fun. But I just think I kind of grew out of it. But Lisa Rinna was like, I don't think it's going to be everything you think it's going to be. And that was a little foreshadowing there that it was going to like mentally fuck with you. Um,
Well, I think also too, I mean, you tell me, I think that the way that she handled stuff just sounded childish. I mean, I guess that's the nicest way I can say it. I mean, to say that somebody's saying that something that she did was like overly sexual, that's her
that's
whole
her whole
shtick.
spiel. Yeah,
She
yeah.
shouldn't be taking that kind of stuff personally, right?
But she does. She takes a lot of things personally, and she full on admits that was it Gleb had said to her like, "Don't let them get to you. It doesn't matter. Who cares?"
Yeah,
And she was like, "But it was too late. Like they had already gotten to me." Because she wanted to show that she was something different instead of leaning into what she
right.
was. Because like the to me the
That's how she
Erika,
got there, right?
yeah, the Erika that I know would have been like, "Fuck you! I'm sexualizing everything with this, and this is who I
That's what I
am."
can't believe, right?
Yeah, yeah, but she like let her guard down and decided she wanted to do something different.
And she became toxic.
She became toxic, and also part of it too is the training they do for that's incredible. I mean, everybody who does it talks about how physically and mentally exhausting it is,
I'm sure.
because I think they've got to compete twice a week, right? And so
Yeah.
there's a whole like I don't know how many weeks they train prior to the actual competition. So there's like tremendous pressure, and everybody who talks about it like basically goes and takes a nap for a month when they're done. So
Yeah, I mean, I was so surprised that she handled that so bad. I mean,
she
so
so
badly.
so badly. But who knows what
Oh,
was also going on in her mind? Maybe she was trying to reinvent herself in some other way. But yeah, but then she suddenly got like very philosophical and religious. But what I did like about her, Maria, and this is why I was like, this is why I like Erika, besides the fact that
yeah.
she can be a twat and she
Yeah.
understands the assignment and brings it
Yep.
every time, is I was like, I know Maria's going to like this because I felt the same way. I did go through confirmation, but I said to my parents, I've done all this. I really don't believe in it. I really think that men who don't have sex running an institution telling us what to do is a big no for me. I don't believe it. And I just remember saying to my parents, I can't believe that abortion is such a massive thing with
Yeah.
the Catholic Church. People have sex. This is what people do.
Yeah.
Why should you feel bad about it?
Right.
And of course, my parents are always like slightly more liberal than like what they would give off. And so I just said, I'll do the confirmation, but I'm not going to church after this. Don't
Yeah.
ask.
Yeah.
Don't
I'm
ask.
punching out. I'm punching
In
out.
fact, if I have to go to mass, I'm not going up for the bread. You understand me? Like I'm just not doing it. They were like, okay, that's fine.
No bread,
Yeah,
just the apps.
yeah, I totally they respected me for that. They were like, no, we think it's bullshit too, but we thought that you should know
That's awesome.
it.
Yeah, your
So
parents were cooler, but both of our parents were older than the average for, kids our age.
yeah.
But I think they were a little bit more liberal than their peers for sure.
Oh, absolutely right. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe perhaps they'd all been through some shit. But I mean, so Erica was she did the same thing. She was just like, I'm not doing confirmation. And I loved Catholic school, by the way. I thought it was awesome. There was something
Yeah, me too.
about the nuns that I just thought was very
Had a good time.
well, I don't know. They had good personalities. I went to Catholic college too. I thought they were
Same. Yeah.
they were fun, right? I thought that they
They're
were a
cute.
little bit more willing to kind of like look into you or help you, or you know what I'm saying? I mean, they were more insightful, because then you get
Yeah.
like the lay people, maybe they had families and they were teaching and this was just a
Yeah.
job, but the nuns I felt were, this is what you do. You know what I
It's their
mean?
mission. It's
This
their
is their
mission.
mission. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Their
so
vocation.
yeah, so and because I thought it was really curious too, like how her mother sent her to Catholic school, and they were all like in the, I'm like, where did they find Catholic in Georgia?
I
How
know.
far did they
I
have
know.
to go?
We'll have to next time we go to Georgia, we'll have to like investigate her part of Georgia.
Yeah,
But yeah, all in all, I thought the book was decent. Um, I would not want to listen to it again.
no,
I definitely would not.
it was good insight into her though. It really
Like if
don't.
you hate Erica, like if you're not an Erica, if someone who likes Erica, I think you could probably live without it.
You could, but on the other hand, it gave me a lot of understanding, you know, into why she acts the way that she acts. Um,
It sure did. I think it also gives a lot of color to what has happened in her life since
mhm,
with Tom and how she's
yeah,
handled that and how she's handled the legal situation
yeah,
around it.
yeah,
Because we see in her book how clearly connected she is with the idea of the law, right? How Tom has almost indoctrinated her, like
mhm.
over time, into believing in him
She probably
and
could have been an
in
attorney
the law.
herself if she had.
Oh, I'm sure
Yeah,
she's an intelligent person.
she
You
is.
can
Yeah,
definitely tell.
yeah,
So yeah, I thought it was a good book. Are you ready to move on to the scene recap?
yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. So the show we're recapping, of course, here is Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It's season 12, which is crazy to me that there are so many seasons of these shows. And then
Hmm.
it's episode 17. I wanted to mention that to you. When I'm looking at some of the shows that we're recapping for the larger part of the podcast, we're looking usually at first seasons, and
Hmm.
they're like 9 or 10, maybe 11 episodes.
Yeah,
As these shows start to grow, there's like 18, 20, 24. And I have to be honest, the longer these shows go on, the more filler there is in them
yeah,
to sort of make them interesting. When I think that the shows that we're watching in the first seasons have all that good stuff kind of like packed into them,
yeah.
whereas they just start putting so much gunk into them that before you know it, you have 24 episodes of a Real Housewives of Beverly
And you're
Hills.
not really sure like what went on. Although I have to say though that definitely it um they're past the point of like their zenith, you know what I mean? Because they had to make them
Yes.
that long because there was so much shit that went on. But instead of just kind of going with it and saying, well, that was season was 20, we can make this one 12.
Right.
I think they felt locked into having to
Getting bigger every
fill.
time.
Yeah, instead of just kind of because I think they're free to really do however fucking many episodes they want to make it, right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's episode 17. And so I'll tell you, I don't know. Did you watch just the clip that I sent you? Or did you watch the whole episode? I actually
Um,
watched the whole episode.
so I do remember the whole episode.
Oh,
I
okay,
was
cool.
very involved in,
This was, yeah. So this
yes,
is
in
at the
this whole
height
thing.
of the whole thing around Erica's legal situation. And
Yeah.
so when I was taking my notes, I wrote earlier gummies, booze, and cunt. So that's what I said. So
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
so basically the girls, have a situation and everybody is really still not getting along. Of course, Erica and Sutton, have this open kind of gross thing.
Yeah.
This is Diana's first and thankfully only season.
Lizard
The
lips.
Yes, I mean she can't stop licking her lips,
She's
and
so gross.
ugh, and she had called Sutton a cunt, I think the episode previously.
Yes. Which I thought was
And
great though.
honestly, I alternately like want to hurt Sutton. Like I would feel like that in a friend group with her. Like I would feel like I would have to be mean to her a little bit. She just inspires that for some ridiculous reason. I
She
think it's
might
because
inspire
she's so
me.
goofy.
She might inspire me though to like punch her square in the
That's
nose.
the thing.
Like
Like
just a little bit. It wouldn't take a lot.
there's just something about her that makes me want to be like, oh.
Yeah. You're
And
so
so when
punchable.
she really is. I mean, God bless her. And in this episode, they're trying to do some like faux stuff. And this is part of the reason why I think Beverly Hills can be hard to watch, because they kind of don't address stuff, right? Like I would
Mm-hmm.
never let people talk to me the way that Sutton lets people talk to her and then not address it and then hang out all day together. Like
Right.
that
There's
is
a
just
lot of
not a thing.
confusion right there for
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Um, and so what happens is they start to take, they get back to the room, to the, excuse me, to their house in Aspen, and they all take gummies.
Yep.
So
Little
Rena
too
hands out,
late. Little too
Rena
late.
hands out the gummies. And then all of a sudden, I forgot all about this. Freaking Kathy Hilton starts doing a commercial for Casa del Sol tequila.
Yes. And there was
And it turns out Kathy forgot that she had like 2 episodes previously done the exact same thing
uh-huh.
and talked to them already about this particular tequila.
Yeah.
God
Everybody was
bless.
like, okay, Kathy, we already bought it, remember? Yeah.
Yep. Everybody is like rolling their eyes. And she's literally like, she's saying, like, this is Casa del Sol. It's rolled between the thighs of Cuban virgins. And like, she's just going into this whole thing. And the girls are drunk. They are
Uh-huh.
fucking loaded.
Yeah.
And so there's a bunch of people there. So their cast is pretty big. So we have Crystal, Garcelle, Erika,
Mm-hmm.
Dorit,
Yep.
Will Smith's ex-wife, Sheree,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sutton.
She wasn't there for very long. She
No,
was
she's just a pain in the balls. She was a
okay.
tryout. We tried her on, she didn't fit.
Yeah.
Sutton, Kyle, and Rinna.
Yeah.
And so the situation is that Rinna, Kyle, Sheree, and Sutton are all like hanging out on this
On the
couch
couch. Yep.
with Erika. And all of a sudden Garcelle kind of calls Erika over. And they all start the little gallery, the peanut gallery,
Mm-hmm.
Rinna, all of them, Kyle especially, I think, they start to freak out because
Yep.
they're like, oh shit. And so Kyle says to Sutton, you're a lawyer, get in there. And this is this season where Sutton is talking about taking the
I
LSAT.
didn't take the LSAT. I never took the
And
LSAT.
she's like, I haven't studied yet, Kyle. I haven't
Because my
studied yet.
neuropathy will not let me sit still for that whole thing. I need someone to scribe it for me while I
Oh my
walk.
God.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
name them,
Name them.
name them,
Name them.
name them.
Name
So
them.
Giselle says to Erika, instead of talking about
Name them. You can
name,
like name
he was
them.
a
Name
fucking
them.
I mean, I like Sutton up to a certain point, but when she started doing name them, I was like honestly, if somebody started doing that to me after 4 or 5 name thems, I would crack them.
I I felt she was so
I'd
slappable.
accidentally spill my coffee on them.
She was so slappable in that moment.
Oh,
Because Maria, I don't have any friends that talk like this to me, and I don't talk
name
like
them,
that to them. I can't name them because I don't have any friends that
name
talk like that.
anything you say from now on, name them. Well, no, I mean, who has friends that's my point, right? Like, that's why for me, sometimes Beverly Hills is unwatchable because I'm like, they're not really friends. Who has friends that like act this way to them, right? Like,
I
Erika and Sutton are not friends.
I do. I have a friend. She was a longtime friend. She died like 10 years ago, and I really loved her. And so she was from college, and I remember she there was another girl who went to college, and she had a house down the Cape, and we went down where there was a few of us, and I had never been invited to this before, and all the friend did who invited us was pick on my other two friends. All she did was fucking argue with them. And I remember like Maria, I'm not kidding. I remember like sitting in like the fucking back seat with like my friend Cindy. I was like, is it always like this? Does she always do this? Because
What's happening?
as I just thought, like, why would you invite friends down here and just and rip them apart? Like, I don't understand. Like that
What's
you're
the point of
supposed to,
having guests?
yeah, you suspend the bullshit and just have a good time for a couple of days, right? And so, and I'll never forget. Like, I just wherever we were leaving, and they're saying like their nicey nicey goodbyes, and I was just like, see you later, Sue. I didn't even thank her. I couldn't
Yeah.
even, I just thought like she probably thought I was a real asshole, but in my mind I was like, that's really
She was being
gross.
fake.
Like
She
who
was being
who
gross. Yeah.
fucking talk who does that? Who has a friend over and talks to them like that? I don't get it. So this whole thing, when they do this, it just freaks me the fuck out, where they're just always like shitting on each other, and then they're being nice. Like, you,
And
these
nobody
made up
steps in.
fights. Yeah.
It's really weird to me when nobody steps in and is like, hey, like, hey,
Yeah. Hey, whoa, 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 people.
right, like chill out, like it's not that deep.
It's not, see, it's never that deep, right?
It really isn't, but I will say that if there's a situation where something's going to go left on Housewives of Beverly Hills, Erika will probably be involved because she is kind of the loose cannon.
Mm-hmm.
With
Mm-hmm.
everybody else, you can kind of poke them and poke them and poke them and poke them. But with Erika, you barely puh them, her, and she, is
She
riled
brings
up.
it. She brings it.
And she's
She,
almost always, and during this season, especially, I think, because this is where she's drinking heavily a lot.
yeah,
In this
very heavily.
in this
Very
season,
heavily.
before she would be very casual drinking, but I feel like now every time they go out, she's drinking heavily.
Sloshed.
Yeah. And so she is drinking heavily this night, and she looks gorgeous, like we
She
said
looks
before.
so good. She looks so Hollywood glam.
Oh, I mean, she looks like Jane Mansfield.
Mm-hmm.
She just looks stunning. She looks like she's in soft focus.
Yeah.
But I think it's just because she's so drunk that her whole body is a full body slur.
Right.
And
Like
so
the camera can't quite focus. Yeah.
no, no. And so Garcelle is sitting at the bar with Crystal, Diana, and Dorit.
Mm-hmm.
And so Garcelle is that, she says to Erika, and it's her way of like instigating something.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I'm so impressed that you're going by the book and, trusting in the legal system. She's like, because she's just setting her up.
Yeah,
Like
she
she's just
is.
lobbing the ball
It,
because she knows that Erika can't help but swing.
and she, yeah, and uh, sorry, Garcelle's very good at that. She
She
excels at that
is.
kind of thing. Yeah.
She is. And this, we should say now, what a fucking performance we're about to witness by Garcelle.
Uh-huh.
I mean, this is a performance. I mean, her intonation, like it, I mean, her nods alone should win Best Supporting at
Yeah.
Nod.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really like, so when she starts this whole thing, this is literally like flipping a switch for Erika.
Uh-huh.
As soon as she says this, Erika starts saying, I have to, there's no point. I'm not going to do anything that's not required of me under the law.
No, look,
And
I
so that,
can't blame her for saying that, by the way.
right. And so here's the thing. Hot take from both of us now. I think we both probably agree, which is as drunk as Erika is about to be,
Mm-hmm.
in retrospect, she's completely correct.
Yes.
Even as obliterated as she clearly is,
Yeah.
the things that she's saying are correct. Maybe not in the way that she says some of them,
Yeah.
but
The
for the
delivery's
most
off.
part,
Yeah.
yeah, but for the most part, the sentiment is on.
Yeah.
And so when she says this to, not required of me under the law, we have this really quick shot of Diana, and she starts furiously licking
The
her
lips.
lips.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I want to put this out there. I think if we really think about what Diana looks like, she is like the love child of Martina Navratilova
Yeah.
and Charo.
Yes. Charo.
Because she kind of has that kind of like, yeah, kind of thing. You don't know where she's from. You're like, what's the accent? Where's that weird energy?
Mm-hmm.
And then that kind of like Martina look. And so then Crystal, honestly, this is so interesting to me because I feel like when Crystal gets involved with anything, I feel like she comes from this weird kind of morally, or tries to come from like this morally superior kind of
Yeah, the moral high ground
place.
thing. Yeah. I don't
And
buy it.
Crystal says to Erika, and it's wicked funny because she says to her, I don't know, I'll tell you why I laugh at this. She said, is there anything you might want to do? Like she's trying to lead her into saying something. And it reminds me of how sometimes in team building sessions, somebody will say something fucked up, right? Like I'll be leading a session and someone will be like, it's because Michelle has that curly hair. I don't like people with curly hair. And I'm like, so are you sure that's how you want to say that? Or I'll say, are you sure that's what you want to lead with?
Uh-huh.
And so it reminded me of that when like Crystal was like trying to say to Erika, like, I'm trying to lob you a softball here. Are you sure you don't want to say something that might make you sound better? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Need I say more? And Erika is like too drunk to even see the ball. The ball goes right by her head.
Yeah.
And she goes, absolutely not. People sued me. I have my response. And she says, until the judge decides, that's it. And then she sort of stops. And for another second, she just looks angelic.
Uh-huh.
And so then we get to Diana. And in between licks, she says, justice is based on facts.
Yeah.
And then Crystal says, again, don't you think, like leading, don't you think that there is a story that's right versus what is the law? And Erika says, no, the law is the precedent.
Uh-huh.
By the way, based on everything she said in her book, I understand why she says all of that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Crystal says, I would give it up. And they're talking about her earrings, of course,
Yep,
right?
the
Her
fucking earrings.
$750,000 earrings. And Erika says, why? Because you could look good, which is correct. I'm sure that is exactly why Crystal would do that.
Yeah.
And then Garcelle says, I would feel compassion for other people. And then Erika says, why don't you think I feel compassion? Because I haven't fought it out yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Garcelle says Erika doesn't want to show her compassion because she thinks it might make her look guilty.
But I think that's valid. That is,
I
I mean, it's a
agree.
total valid.
Your lawyers would
what
say no, don't
what
do anything.
Crystal says and what fucking Diana says are bullshit. I totally understand what Garcelle. Garcelle's got her shit together. I mean, she knows a few things, and she's the only one who can like fucking articulate, right, in that little scenario right there. So,
Well, she's the only one I think who's playing in the same field as Erika, but
yeah, even though
she's
they
also
can't
a little
pass the
bit
ball. Yeah.
simple-minded about it
Yeah.
because she's also saying, I would feel compassion. She doesn't realize that I believe that Erika's lawyers probably said to her, don't talk about this shit.
Shut
Don't
up. Yeah.
comment on it. Don't
Yeah.
comment on whether or not they are victims. They are not victims. Do you feel bad? Do you not feel bad? Your lawyer would tell you to shut up.
But then Kyle had something good to say on her little sort of
Yeah, we'll
talking
get
head
there.
thing.
We'll
Yeah.
get there. But yeah, I don't I think that Erika probably should have either made a statement early on or probably
Mm-hmm.
bowed out of the season. But I'm
Yeah.
sure she needed the money.
Mm-hmm.
So Erika says, I'm not guilty. And so then Garcelle says, I'm not saying you are guilty, which of course she is. But if you do that, it might look like you are.
Mm-hmm.
And so Erika says, I'm not guilty. That's why I fight as hard as I do. And so then Crystal says it's about trying to make people whole.
Yeah.
That's all. And then Erika says, which frankly, she says it in a very heated way. Again, but it's very true. There's a place to make people whole, and it's in a court of law,
Mm-hmm.
not in the court of public opinion.
She's absolutely right.
I mean, when you see this written down, it doesn't look like a rant at all.
No, but was
It's
she
her
makes it a
delivery is
rant.
super slurry, and she's like in everybody's faces alternately,
Yeah.
right? Because she's kind of like slurry and like up and down, and her body is kind of all over.
She's like a
And,
not in public opinion, not in the court of
yeah.
public opinion. I mean,
Yeah, and
yeah.
Crystal is just the opposite. She's completely stoic and she's like, we're not talking about public opinion. And then Erika screams, yes, you are. And the peanut gallery is fucking baked.
They are
We
baked
get
over
the
there. They don't know
they are
what
baked
to
and
do.
aghast. They are aghast.
Yeah.
Literally, they don't know what to do. It's like they're like the see no evil, hear no evil monkeys. They're just like touching various parts of their bodies, trying to hide.
But they're secretly enjoying it.
Loving
Yeah.
it. I would
Yeah.
love to be on the couch.
So
I would look at you and I would be like applauding silently.
Yes. Do you think they'll do more?
I know. I would just be like, can we order drinks?
Yeah.
Is there drinks here?
Is there any nachos going on?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Is there some pulled pork, some burnt end nachos?
A burnt end nachos. Oh,
yes, let's do that,
good,
please.
Maria. Oh,
I know. I'm a chef in my mind. So Erika says, and again, when I look at it written down, it makes total sense that we aren't letting the legal process play out.
yeah.
And so then we see Crystal's confessional, where she says, whether or not your husband has been convicted of these crimes, why can't you show empathy? It's asinine to me. I don't understand. And the truth is, she just doesn't understand, right? Like,
well, the Lion King, fucking did it all for her, and
she hasn't
she's
been
all
in this
set.
situation.
She's never. Well, we know a little bit more about Crystal as time goes on, and she is like a controlling cunt, and she makes no sense, and she's got really no fucking interesting background, no fucking validity. The only valid thing about her is that she's adjacent to a fucking pop star fucking brother, and that she's adjacent to fame through like her husband who fucking did the Lion King. So you just
Rob, yeah,
always rubbing against you. You're just adjacent. You're an adjacent person. So she's insignificant to me, and she, bless her, she tries to really make a scene and
she
make
sounds
things
like a
relevant.
Shithead. She sounds really, and I hate to say it, she is, of course, she is really young, but she sounds it. Like, this is where she really shows her age. Like, part of me would want to look at her and go, it's because you're 5 years old and you don't recognize how to behave around the law. However we want to view Erika has lived with an attorney for 20 years.
Yeah.
And has been very close to him in his processes and in his life and in his work. So, I don't think for a second that she doesn't understand, what's happening here. I'm sure Erika is very keyed in to the process in a way that we
Yeah.
would not be.
But there's another layer, I think, is that we find out, that Tom is, declining, right? Mentally declining. And
Yeah.
she's not really
No,
come
and
out and
I
said
feel
it.
like she can't. I honestly, I feel like
Yeah.
those are all things that if we were in that position, our attorney would tell us not to comment on.
Yeah. But, you know,
I hate to see it.
I can tell you from experience that people who have dementia, um, sometimes they give away the farm and they're not sure
Yeah.
why they did it. But it's happens over many years, many fucking years. So I believe that she may have just thought what he was doing was all okay,
Well,
because
and maybe she wasn't that close to the finances.
maybe she wasn't, but also like, and I've heard this before from medical professionals, people who tend to get like dementia and Alzheimer's, they're usually really smart. And
Yeah.
so they have a really good way of pulling the wool over everybody's eyes and
Yeah.
making it
I'm sure
seem
they
okay.
mask. I'm sure they mask
They're
for quite a while.
they're great at masking. So I'm sure Erika had like no fucking idea what was
No.
going on. I'm not defending her because I think, I don't
I
know
think
why
I
that
think she has asshole moments, of course.
she does. She does. She probably should have fucking given the earrings away and made some,
But
you
I,
know.
I agree. I think that it was too early in the process for
Yeah.
her to do it. She had to see how it played out.
Yeah.
And she actually says here that the law matters. And she
It
said, if you
does.
don't understand, this is where she goes a little cuckoo. She says, if you don't understand that, you're an amateur, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
She says, just because someone says you did shit, you're going to throw your hands up and say, I did it. Oh my God, I feel so bad. People are thinking I'm terrible. Hold on a fucking minute, she says. That's one side of the story. Let's tell the other fucking side. And she goes, you believe that shit? She says to Crystal, because someone said so. And Crystal says, no one said so. That's how I feel. No one is telling me to care about
Yeah, it's
victims.
all feelings. It's her feelings.
Yes. And that's
Very
what I think
different,
that's what's
Crystal.
happening.
Very
Yeah.
different, Crystal. We're not caring about your feelings. We have to be very matter of fact about the whole situation now. And
And
she's,
that's what Erika says. She goes, let's get real.
yeah.
You're caring without facts. What facts do you have?
Maria, I'm going to get you a blonde wig in your favorite purple outfit. And I want to see you like reenact that scene.
Listen,
Right?
I do love Erika. I feel bad for her. I feel like she went through, I mean, it's one thing to lose your marriage, it's another thing to, have to go through all of this shit in front of the universe. And then having to not defend yourself when people make you look like an asshole.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if there was like a housewife that I would not want to leave, she'd be one of them.
Oh yeah, because she brings a tremendous amount of fun.
Yeah.
Because she's got a light personality and she doesn't take herself, I think, as do for sure.
Yeah.
But she needs better people around her. But so when Erica says, what facts do you have? I think this is when she starts to get super slurry.
Yeah.
Like I think this is when we start to like we're skidding towards the end of this conversation. Like
Uh-huh.
how it is like when you're in an argument with someone when you've had too much to drink where you're like where you finally get tired.
Yeah.
So Crystal says there are dead people that money was stolen from, and those are fucking facts. And Erica goes, really? Where are your facts? Back them up. Come on. It's like she's starting to get like a little frisky and wild.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And it's her version of name them.
Name them.
Name them.
Name them.
And because what she says next is cite it.
Cite
Cite
it. I
it.
love that. Cite it.
And
Cite it.
she's staring her down. Like she's like getting like in her face, kind of leaning over the bar I don't want to say it was like an aggressive way, but in a way that was like meant to intimidate. And so then Crystal says, there were victims that were not paid from a class action suit. And Erica goes, yeah, have you proven that? And in the confessional, Erica says that she understands these people have passed away and she feels terrible about that. I think that's the first time she says it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she says, we need to find out what did or did not happen to their settlement money. It's a different fight.
Did we ever find out
Yeah.
exactly? We know she got to keep the earrings.
Yeah. I don't think it's the whole process has played itself out yet.
No. Okay.
No. So, and because of course there's still, I think, so much going on with Tom. I think they've just determined that he's, unable to kind of deal.
Although she lost everything, right? I mean, she's
Oh, well,
got
she
like,
walked away. She walked away.
but she doesn't have any, there's like nothing that Tom left her. There's no money or anything, right?
No, because
So
all of that has been seized.
it's
Most
all
of that
been
has been
seized.
seized. Their
So
house
yeah.
was sold.
Yeah.
Their house was sold, including the chapel, which was a very weird thing to put in there.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah.
It's very weird. And what's interesting is Erika tells us it's a civil, it's not a criminal lawsuit. It's not an
It's
issue
still a
of guilt.
civil. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not an issue of guilt or innocence. She goes, so let's get that very straight. And we cut again to the peanut gallery, and Rinna's head is in her fucking hands.
Mm-hmm.
And we see her in a confessional. And she says that the edible has kicked in at this point.
The confessional edible. Yeah.
The confessional edible. Oh, we should have Pura Kringe edibles. That's what we need.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
and she says the edible is kicked in and that this is ruining her vibe,
Uh-huh.
and I can see how, feeling a little baked, she'd be looking up, and after a while Erika starts to get scary.
Yeah.
She's now really starting to slur, and she's saying it's not an issue of criminal liability, and she keeps leaning in. After a while I would be like, what the fuck? But Rinna says that she brought the edibles out way too late,
Well,
because
nachos
now,
actually could have deflected a lot of that, you
well,
know.
that's the truth. If we
Yeah.
had ordered drinks and nachos, I wouldn't have even noticed they were still fighting.
Yeah.
But nothing would have prevented Erika's meltdown. And so Erika is saying, she's not saying she doesn't feel for the potential victims. And then Garcelle, in her Oscar-winning role, says, potential victims, potential victims. And Erika goes, yeah, because who knows that they're true or not. And Garcelle goes, okay. And that's when we get her nod, her Academy Award winning
Yeah.
nod right there.
Yeah.
And so in a confessional, we get Garcelle saying for 2 decades, Erika was living this lavish lifestyle off the backs of these victims. Even if Erika is innocent, her refusal to give anything back is beyond me. What do you think about that, Michelle? Do you think that Garcelle is also being a little short-sighted here?
She's being a little short-sighted, and also she's coming from a place of being a Black woman, where, she's had to like take a lot of lumps, do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
just been expected to take them.
Yep.
So she's kind of looking at it like, why should they be expected to take it too? So I think it's a lot of her emotion. I'm not saying that what Garcelle has experienced isn't true, because I know a lot of people like her and what their feelings are and their experiences.
Yeah.
And, so she's very good at articulating them, but she is kind of conflating her personal experiences. She got a point, but on the other hand, we just, it's just hard to conjecture when you don't really know. And I think what she's really trying to do is say that, like, she thinks Erika should just walk around with her tail between her legs and have remorse. But what good would that do either?
Well, I think that's the thing. I think she's almost saying the same thing as Crystal, but I feel like she's trying to get the same message across. And I think she, hopefully has never been in a situation like this where, she's been sued. And I think, like we said, because Erika has probably been told that she can't say these things, that she shouldn't talk about them, that she shouldn't go into detail about how she feels, because truly for her to even talk about a lot of this, it might be taken as culpability.
Yes.
I mean, it's entirely possible. So
Yeah.
I just think it's, again, just so it's very naive of Garcelle. I was very surprised that she didn't get this, because I give her more credit than that. But to your point, it could be a personal experience that she's looking at,
It
because
is. And I
yeah,
think, with the whole legal thing, like we saw this season of Potomac, as boring as it was, there was all these lawsuits flying around.
yeah.
And, you're not supposed to talk about them really, right? So
Well, that's the thing, and I think that Erika probably knows more than all of us, and is like, listen, I'm not fucking with my chances to,
yeah.
to maybe be sued and lose what little I have.
Yeah.
And so she's very, I mean, and I feel the same way. If someone accuses me of something and I am innocent, I will go bananas trying to defend myself. I will do
Yeah.
whatever I have to do. Does here. I mean, she's doubling down. She's saying, just because someone says something, that doesn't make it true, which is, again, even though she's obliterated, everything she's saying is true, right?
Yeah.
And then we shoot to the gallery, and it's Kyle again, and she's saying, it's not cool what Erika is saying right now. And we see her horrible orange confessional look. She's wearing and it is horrible. She's wearing just one color, orange, like tangerine, I would say, like an
Yep.
electric tangerine with like a bustier. She looks terrible. She says that if it was her, she would be making a statement saying that she does care about the victims, and for everyone to please be patient with the process. But again, I still think that saying something like that would be admitting something.
It might be a little late in the game to say that. Maybe she could have
Yeah.
said it earlier. I don't know. I mean, again,
Yeah.
I know
I'd err on the side of nothing.
I know what attorneys how they tell you to handle things, and
Yeah.
because I've been in some messy shit, and it's just like, just don't say anything. Just,
Yeah,
you
you
know what I
do
mean?
when you retain someone for that kind of money, you have to trust their judgment. And when
Yeah,
they tell you to not do a thing, you shut up,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. So, yeah, I don't know, I don't know, but
Well,
yeah,
here's how this is going to end. This is where Erica really like puts the stamp on everything. Crystal says, "All I think about are the victims," and Erica says, "I don't give a fuck
yes, I
about
love
anyone
this.
else but me." And it's like,
I love
poof, the
this
gallery is
performance. I
all
love
fucking
it.
shook.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, blammo, thwack. I mean, people lose their
And
minds
you
in
and
the
I would
gallery,
have pulled out pom poms, right?
right? And
Go,
scene,
go, go.
right? I mean, this shit was beautifully acted.
Yeah,
This is, but I agree with Drunk Erica.
yeah.
Who would have thunk it? How often does that happen that I say that I agree with Drunk Erica? I totally do.
I think in retrospect, I thought she was at the time really kind of twatty. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But then, like,
Oh, I thought
as
she was being a total cunt when this
yeah,
happened.
but as things
You're
played
totally
out,
right.
I was just like, well, no, now that I think about it, um, that was a tough situation that she was in. Also, too, the fact that we see that she had nothing, she had to move on. Do you know what I mean? And start from zero, and go back to all her Erika Jayne stuff. You know what I mean? It's she's in a
Yeah,
tough
I mean,
spot.
she had to sort of walk away from a situation that I'm sure was very painful. No matter what Tom had been doing or whatever, she chose to stay there and to live with him. And I think she must have loved him. So I'm sure it was like super difficult for her.
Yeah,
But so I think that, and what we're seeing with this that season, basically season 12 was like Erica getting drunk and like trying not to talk about the lawsuit and
yeah,
try to enter and trying to like keep people away from and to stop people from talking about it,
yeah,
to try to minimize it. Because also too, I get it, you don't want it to be brought up every time and every episode of this show, because especially if you're innocent, you don't want it to be a thing where people can look at the show and go, what did people say, what did people do?
yeah, and
Because there are
also
opportunities for something to be maybe misconstrued.
yeah, and also I'm sure it hurts her feelings because she did love her husband,
Yeah,
right? So I'm sure, it's incredibly hurtful because now that, everybody's
it's
sort of
also her
like,
grandfather, but
yeah, and in a backhanded way saying like, the guy you were married to was a fucking asshole and you reaped all these benefits.
right.
Okay, well, maybe he wasn't always an asshole. I mean, this is the thing. Do you know what I mean? It's you don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but I highly doubt that he was. If he had dementia, I just understand that people do this. They have dementia, they move money from here to there. To them, it just looks like something that's happening on a balance sheet. It's
Yeah.
not real. It becomes like fucking monopoly
And he was in
money.
charge of their entire life too, so I think that there has to be a certain amount of like grace there. But I have to say, she handled herself pretty well,
Yeah.
even loaded, in this
Yeah.
situation.
And she
She
looked
was
good.
obliterated. I mean, honestly, who among us who's listening can say that they have ever been that drunk, looked that good,
Yeah.
and have made that much sense
Yeah.
all at the same time? That should all happen to us at some point. We should all look that good, sound that good, and have a few drinks.
Well, I think the Housewives franchise has to thank Erika Jayne for the glam squad effect because before
Absolutely.
that things were very, very plain, right?
Oh yeah, she made the clothes interesting. I mean, now a lot of them I don't love,
Yeah.
and I have to say, I think that they have her to thank for the glam squad. But I feel like Erika Jayne, as much as I think she's a fun character,
Mm-hmm.
I think that Erika, this is my hot take, I think Erika is the death knell of the Real Housewives, being real.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
she's
don't
sort
think
of
these are no longer people that I relate to.
no, no,
Because I
it's
even
she's
related to Lisa Vanderpump more.
yeah, no, she's it's definitely been sort of balled up into this kind of fantasy thing,
Yeah.
which maybe knowing what we know about her from her book, maybe that's where she lives.
Yeah, I think that the character of Erika Jayne is a comfortable place and a safe place for her to be, and I get it.
Yeah. And
I get
so now everybody else is in a,
yeah.
well, we'll have to come up with character names for all the other participants now,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. I mean, I will say, this was a really, I was surprised by how much I liked the book. Like I
Mhm.
said, I wouldn't read it again, and I didn't love the structure of it, but I liked her journey.
I did. Yeah.
And I thought there were a lot of parts where I sort of chuckled out loud and laughed with her. And there were a couple of parts that I was, I was kind of sucked in emotionally, especially when she talked about her kid.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she was really cool about that. If you had to pick like some housewives to do like your own, not like girls trip, but like your own show to make it like your own season, like who are the ones that you would hand pick to put together? I
Oh
mean,
God.
Erika would have to be in it for me.
Well, so can I ask, when we talk about this, like Real Housewives, so if what we're saying is we want something that's going to be like drama filled and like people are going to hate each other, then that's a different cast. I would want a cast of people that liked each other, that I liked, that I wanted to hang out with.
Well, I'd like to see like her and Bethany like in a show together.
Oh, so they were on a couple of episodes of Real Housewives together. So
Yeah,
did you see, so when
yeah,
Bethany basically completely critiques her video?
yeah. But no, I would like to just see them, just try to interact like an entire season
Oh
together.
wow, yeah.
I'd like Sutton to get thrown to the wolves a little bit and see what they do to her. Um, as much as I hate her, Lisa Rinna.
Mm.
And let's see, I'm trying to think. Phaedra.
Oh God. Michelle, I have to tell you, I'm not watching your show. No, I don't like
No,
your
you
show.
don't
I
like
hate all these people.
Phaedra?
Yeah, I don't want to watch them all together, because you know what it is? So I like fun shade.
Uh-huh.
As much as I am a bitch in real life, I like fun shade. So I like when people are like, when it's light.
Like Sheree.
Like I feel like I'll put it to you this way. Real Housewives of New Jersey now is so fucking dark,
It's so dark. Way too dark.
because Teresa and her brother don't even speak. They're on the
Yep.
same show, and it's just so dark.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the shows have just gotten really dark, and I feel like the people that you're naming are part of the reasons why these shows are so dark. Like I feel like Rinna became very toxic. I feel like
Yeah.
Erika is getting toxic. I feel like Phaedra, that's why she had to leave. Sheree, same thing. I think Sheree is also very toxic. I think it depends too. Like Sheree, the first year of Atlanta was fun. She was
Well,
a normal human being.
but that's like kind of what I'm thinking. Do you know what I mean? Like the kind of like the older ones. I mean, Erica to me has been the same character since the
Yeah.
beginning. Bethany, I think she's kind of been the same, kind of like the same idiot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I could like pick like certain seasons, like certain versions of people in seasons,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
then I would like to see them together. Although it's impossible, because they've devolved or evolved into what they're into
Yeah.
now.
For me, for the show that I would want them on a show with me. And I would want the ones that like I would want, I think are like the most fun. But I think that they would have their own like things. I have to be honest, I wouldn't pick anybody from Beverly Hills.
No.
I don't like anybody on Beverly Hills. There's nobody that I think is interesting.
Mm.
Um, and it's because it's evolved now, again, out of like, remember in the beginning, these people were actually friends.
Yeah, yeah, they were.
They
Yeah.
actually knew each other. Now, after 12 seasons, their relationships are tenuous at best.
You know who I
But
always liked? Carlton. And I don't think that Carlton
oh
got
my
enough
God.
play on that, right?
That's yeah, and I think Andy said that too, that they really like they did a bad edit on her, and that
They
she
really did. They did. She needed like another season.
she seemed interesting.
Yeah.
But I think I would want like early Luann. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
want Luann
Yeah.
now
Yep.
loaded. I don't want Luann now. And I would want to hang out with like early Candy.
Early Candy. Yeah.
Yeah, early Candy her first season, and I would like early Nene as well. Um and
I never liked Nene. I could never get with her.
oh, I still to this day love Nene.
Yeah.
I totally, it's funny. I totally get her.
Yeah. I like her in clips. Like
Yeah,
shit
yeah,
that she says is outrageous. Yeah.
she is funny, but it's when it's one of those things like when you watch it from the beginning too, it's like you get them. I actually also liked Jill Zarin
I liked Jill Zarin too.
in the early days.
Yeah.
I felt like Jill was. Yeah, I would want them. I would want like that group of people. Like I would want to do like a girls trip with them or like an
Uh-huh.
RV, but it would have to be people that I thought would be fun. And I'm sure that they would not get along and they would be like friction.
Mm-hmm.
But I would be worried about like putting people that I feel like are incendiary, like
Uh-huh.
Sheree or like Marlo, like
Oh,
invite
yeah, yeah.
like inviting Marlo on a girls trip or like fucking Brandy Glanville.
I'm all set with Brandy. She needs to never
I
show up.
know. I have to honestly tell you, I don't want to read any of her books.
No,
So
I don't. I
hope
don't.
nobody listening wants to is looking for Brandy books because I can't stand her.
I think she's
Um,
gross.
totally, totally. But this was really fun. And honestly, I'm glad we did this scene recap because it really allows us to kind of get why she was acting like that,
Mm-hmm.
especially after reading the book. So this was good. I enjoyed this one.
Yes. Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. Um, and what else do we have coming up? We're going to be doing more Project Runway.
Yes.
Yep. And but in the meantime, people, if you like our show, good review, bad review, I like it. I like
Michelle wants to know what you're
I
thinking.
want to know. I really want to. I'm like my mother. I really want to know.
Don't leave Michelle hanging.
Don't leave me hanging. If you think I suck, tell me. Yep. So, yep, rate us or not, or leave a written something. I've done written things on reviews before and they don't show up. So there's like some powers that be that allow those things or don't allow them.
Yeah, that's why it's always good. So, yeah, giving us a rating and a review is super helpful because it does hopefully will show up in the Apple algorithm if we can do it in Apple Podcast or Spotify.
Yep.
And it will push us up so that more people who love this kind of stuff get to see the podcast and
Yeah.
hopefully become pure cringe fans.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Maria, this was fun.
Yes,
Until next
absolutely.
time.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.